9.5, 9.6, 9.6. Round of applause! But first, Matthew applause for Matt!
You live far too many miles away. But yesterday you asked me if I ever think about you during the day. In class or on the bus, do I ever wonder who you're with or what you're doing or what you're thinking about? Well, I'm in driver's ed right now. And I'm thinking about you like crazy, like hands, think about holding it. Arms think about folding, and minds think about not thinking, but knowing. I'm thinking about you, like feet think about socks, and socks think about shoes, like rocks think about sitting, and tops think about spinning, and cops think about arresting people. I'm thinking about you, like people think about the clock 10 seconds before the year ends. Like white and black think about making gray on a paint palette, like night thinks about making day in the morning, like rain clouds think about pouring, like Snorlax thinks about snoring. I'm thinking about you, like learning how to drive thinks about being really, really boring. Because seriously, we're sitting inside with our notebooks and our pens while out the window the sun thinks about shining and birds think about flying and squirrels think about climbing, like friends think about lending ears, like mourners think about shedding tears, like windshields think about being clear, like clearly all good drivers think about shifting gears, right? Because I'm in driver's ed right now, not trying to get you off my mind. Just maybe for a minute, off the road signs and traffic lines we're drawing, I'm thinking about you like bugs think about grass, like students think about class, like ladies think about class, like lower middle class people think about flying first class to places they only think about, like New Zealand or France. I'm thinking about you like the pilot thinks about the horizon, and the horizon thinks about the clouds, and the clouds think about the wind thinks about the trees, and teenage boys think about the birds and the bees think about serving the queen and making honey, and honey, I'm thinking about you like crazy. Like slinkies think about springs, and mattresses think about springs, and winter thinks about spring, who thinks about summer, and it doesn't matter what season it is when I'm thinking about you, it's always sunny, like rainbows, and it's funny, so I'm thinking about you like rich people think about making money, and poor people think about making money, and old people and young people. When I think about you, the world makes sense. So let me go change. I'm thinking about you when I get dressed, because before I step on stage and I look at myself in the mirror, you're the only one that I'm trying to impress. So I'm thinking about you, like lawns think about mowing, and poets think about flowing, and oars think about rowing, and boats think about flowing, and hearts think about going places. Like young musicians think about going places. Like you and I think about going places. Like maybe toddlers think about walking, and babies think about shoelaces. Like newborns think about talking, and high schoolers think about being cool. Like refrigerators think about being cool, and microwaves think about getting hot. Like kids think about breaking rules, and targets think about getting shot, and numbers think about adding, and cripples think about standing. I'm thinking about standing up, walking out. Say I have to go to the bathroom or something, and I can find out exactly who you're with and what you're doing and what you're thinking about. But you're probably in class right now too. So I'll write you, draw you a big banner like, hey, I'm thinking about you, like thank you to someone who's taught me how to daydream.
Because it's an Olympic sport, that means we score very fast, we score with very little precision or very little thought. Why? Because the library closes at 9. If the library closed at 10, you could exercise brain cells. So actually, on the count of 1, 2, 3, I'm going to count to 3 and name in cars that can drive really fast. Let's see, there is a Trans Am, which is a very 70s car. I don't know if they still make Trans Ams, but in the 70s they did. Lamborghini Countach. And the Ford Pinto. Hold up your scores, please. Hold them up. We have a 9.5, an 8.5, an 8.1, an 8.7, and a 9.3, which totals manual applause. Many people don't know it, but Matt invented driver's ed. Ed is for education. Before Matt, when you turned 15, there was no learner's permit, there was no driver education, there was no exam. They just gave you a Lamborghini Countach. Crash. Which is how come you should know Lamborghini Countachs are so expensive. They had to subsidize years of crashing sports cars. The total would be
26.5.
26.